I'm an associate professor here in the Department of Curriculum and Teaching. A lot of my work focuses on issues of school change and large-scale school improvement. Most of what I've learned about in the States is what doesn't work and what doesn't change. Part of what I wanted to use the Fulbright for was to study what was happening in other countries that were perhaps actually working and that were more successful. I ended up in Norway, which many of you know that Finland kind of tops the charts or has in many PISA rankings and things like that. Norway actually performs about the same as the US. And my Fulbright experience was really around trying to understand some of these issues related to educational systems and quote-unquote higher and lower performance, and really, causing me, I think as many others do, to question that kind of evaluation. I actually spent my third grade year in Mexico City because my dad was transferred there to work in an office there, and that was a transformative experience for me. So part of my goal with the Fulbright was to get my 3 daughters and the whole family out to have a different experience. One of the interesting things we learned about the Norwegian education system from our 4th and 6th grader was they actually don't get any grades or any written marks until they're in 8th grade. In fact, it's written into law that you can't give them written marks until 8th grade. This was part of what I was learning as an educator, but also as a parent, which was, gee, the kids really loved that, but I had no idea what they were doing. That was the year that President Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. We had an office, and as I walked to my office, everyone I knew greeted me and shook my hand and said, "Congratulations on your Peace Prize." But then after that, you start to think, well, wait a second, if I'm responsible for this, then am I also responsible for all the things that the previous administration did? And the answer is yes. It really opened my eyes not only to how others see me, but also to thinking about my role in this country, but it also got me thinking differently about the intellectual and professional work I was engaged in, which is trying to understand accountability. And the fact is, in Norway, they don't, or as in Finland, they don't actually have a word for accountability. But what they talk about is responsibility. And they talk about responsibility not as an individual obligation. So it's not about making sure that each individual does what they're supposed to do, their job description says they're supposed to do. The question is, are you behaving in ways that reflect the responsibility for the collective goals and norms that we have established? And so that was a personally important insight for me, but it's also directly connected to the intellectual and professional work that I'm continuing to do in this country, which is to say, okay, all right, maybe we need some accountability, particularly around individual performance, but how do we also develop the kind of collective responsibility for an educational system that I think we need?